This is a brand new Land Cruiser 70 series at the Tokyo Motor Show. Thanks to Bayanda for the video, my colleague. Look at the state of this car, the new Prado. Proper tackies on there. They haven't gone for ultra low profile tires. In terms of engines, the 2.8 tried and tested diesel. I would have liked to have seen a V6 in here just for a bit more guts. But the front end looks really cool. It looks like the original 70 series that they brought out in 1984. You can also get a 2.4 litre hybrid in this for the advanced emissions market. It really does look the business, ladies and gentlemen. Here's some B-roll from the manufacturers. Seeing this thing in action, plenty of ground clearance here. This thing is a beast off-road. It looks better off-road than the first one, to be honest. Departure and entry angles are all on point, ladies and gentlemen. So in terms of engine options, you've got the 2.4 litre turbo petrol and the 2.7 litre normally aspirated petrol engine. The 2 TRFE tried and tested. And then on the hybrid side, as I said, you got the 2.4 and you got a 2.8 diesel hybrid. And then you got the regular diesel 2.8. It's all happening there with the engines. The range includes 3 trim levels consisting of the base Land Cruiser 1958 mid-level Land Cruiser model and the Land Cruiser First Edition limited to 50,000 units during the first year of production. So they're not going to flood the market with this, thankfully. Not too much information as to when this is going to be arriving in South Africa. We normally are the last at the table, sadly. But here you see it in all of its glory. So no 4 litre V6 in this anymore. That was a banging engine. This would be a classic car for an upgraded version, a sort of Raptor version. Put a big engine in, 33s, bit of a lift, Fox shocks. And this thing is going to be very, very proper. It doesn't look that heavy. Probably in terms of storage it's going to be better, but it's a bit more boxy, and the boxier designs tend to be good in that regard. 221 meters of ground clearance, which is proper. Diff locks all around. This thing's going to be incredibly capable off-road, and it's going to be a welcome upgrade to the Land Cruiser stable, which has been sort of 10 years unchanged since the 4th generation, which came out in 2009. Sure, so that's 14 years the Prado has been going, so it's really been needing a bit of an upgrade. The first generation, the J70, was really the coolest one I've seen, and this is probably the only one that can really challenge that. And then I'll probably go 90 after that. That was one of my favorites. And then you start going downhill into the 120 series and the 150, which is probably the ugliest of the lot. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I really like the way Toyota's going with this truck. They're definitely going in the right direction. It's beautiful on the eye. It's very moddable. It's going to be pretty good for towing with that 2.8. It'll be rated for 3.5 tons. It's going to be ready to roll, ladies and gentlemen. And the 2.8 with a tune, put a bigger turbo on and you're going to be pushing 180 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts if you're lucky, which is what this thing really needs. It does cut a hell of a line. This vehicle, which is known as a J250 in international markets, was first revealed in 2nd of October of this year. And interestingly enough, for European buyers, no 3-door model. The 3-door model hasn't been offered in South Africa for quite a while now. It's nice to see manufacturers going back to classic designs after all these, a lot of the generic sort of bubble designs that you see in SUVs. They all look the same. That's one thing I noticed about having a Camry. An older design car really stands out and is a lot cooler. So all models are equipped with a full-time 4-wheel drive system, a center differential, and an electronic 2-speed transfer case with high and low range. So no mechanical stuff these days. It's all electronic. It's pretty much the way things are going. Reliability of these systems is much better than it was in the early days, although Toyota has always really been known for phenomenal reliability. And this has a 50-50 power split, which is ideal. Really is going to appeal to the people who are into the retro look. So this is available in Japan, North America, Europe, Australia and South Africa are the main markets. The only gripe with this car will be in terms of power, especially if you're towing with the 2.8 diesel pushing out 150 kilowatts. You really are going to be a little bit short on power. It does have a 6-speed auto, which is great. I hate these 10-speed. It does have a 6-speed auto or an 8-speed direct shift automatic, I beg your pardon. That's in Europe, Japan, the Middle East and others. So if you're going to be doing a lot of towing with this vehicle, you might find it a bit underpowered at 150 kilowatts with a 2.8. I really would have liked to have seen a V6 diesel in here, similar to the engine they have in the Wild Track. The 3-liter or 3.4 turbo diesel would be ideal in here, but it's quite a big car, especially once it's fully laden. That's the kind of gripe. I drove the Hilux with the same engine and I find it very, very sluggish off the line, I must say. In terms of wheelbase, it's 2,850 millimeters, length is 4,925 millimeters, width is 1,980 millimeters, and height is 1,870 millimeters. In terms of how this stacks up against the 300 series, this is a much better proposition in my mind. The 300 series is ugly. Only the GX has got a decent front end, but the rest of them, the top of the range VX model is really one of the worst front ends I've ever seen. So in terms of cool factor, this is the coolest Toyota you can buy. So get yourself on the waiting list, and we'll catch you next time on Africa Sideways. Peace.